Today we're working on interior surfaces in the Bunny Bungalow, so stay tuned. Welcome to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host Jerry Hansen. Today we're in front of the Bunny Bungalow because we're going to be working inside intermittently throughout the day, because as the afternoon wears on, it's going to get hot here. So what I'm doing is I'm putting on some drywall mud on the surfaces of the interior walls. I'm going to cover the seams and put kind of I'm going to put a texture on it, just like a drywall. The reason being is because I want to basically use this building as potentially a dual purpose, because if I have to, I can move the rabbit cages out and easily retrofit it to accommodate as a bunkhouse. Just in case, just in case. Let's just leave it at that. But anyway, tiny house concept. Also, an 8x8 by 8-foot structure. Really inexpensive. So far, I have approximately $250 cash into this project, and that money came from mostly the sale of my livestock. So let's get started, and I'll introduce you to the tools I use. I have here a bucket of drywall mud. At least it's a half a bucket. I went ahead and stirred it up, and this is left over from project inside the house. I also have these blades. This is a wide fan blade and some narrower blades. I have a putty knife for smaller surfaces. I have drywall tape, which you're going to see me using. I also have 3 tools. I don't know why I have 3 tools, but these are specifically for spreading the mud evenly down corners. And here is another selection of putty knives. So I'm well set with putty knives. So, and this is my trough for carrying the mud in and using it in small quantities at a time, and I just recharge this from the bucket out here. So with that said, let's get busy. I already pre-stirred the mud. I didn't have a suitable stirring device, so I just put a 2-inch paddle bit in my electric drill, my cordless drill, and used that as a stirring device. So we're charged up. We're going to go ahead and apply some mud with, let's use this one, and we're going to go ahead and start applying tape to the corners. Let me add a stupid disclaimer here because of all the lingo mumble jumble that's required on YouTube, I guess. Well, anyway, I am not an expert, but my daddy defines an expert as a compound Greek word, ex meaning formerly or unknown, and a spurt is an unknown drip, or a drip under pressure. Therefore, I am not an unknown drip under pressure. I do not know professionally how to do drywall or carpentry. I'm not bonded. I don't have any experience except for University of YouTube and doing it and applying my skills. So I learned all this drywall work from the University of YouTube. So let's go ahead and apply some mud. Some of you professionals may have your technique. I have mine. And this is my technique. Just getting a layer on the wall. Next step is to apply the tape. We have to soak the tape in water first, so let me show you that. I got one of those free buckets from an estate cleanup that I did, so I got it full of water, and we're going to go ahead and get the tape wet. First of all, you want to see how much tape you're going to need for this particular corner. So I'm just going to put the tape to the floor, roll it up. I'm holding it with my toe, and you just tear off what you need. Next step is soak it in the bucket. squeegee off the excess water. It's got a little perf or a crease in the middle of the tape. You want to go ahead and get your fold going all the way down the length of the tape, because that fold is going to tuck into the corner. Okay, and then we go ahead and put in the corner. I start with the top. Use my knife to tuck it into the corner. And grab my corner tool. This is what the corner tool looks like. And you'll see it's beveled. And so that's why we just start at the top. Oh, we gotta press it in. Get the glue to adhere to it so it won't slide on you like that. Okay. And just gradually go down, pressing it into the glue all the way down. And you're going to get mud on your knife. That's good, excess mud. Scrape it off into your bucket because you're going to use that. Store my tools in water. The reason being, you don't want that drywall mud to dry on your tools, because then you have to wipe them off and it creates a havoc on your drywall with dried mud on it. Okay, in this heat that's going to dry fast. Don't worry about cleaning up the excess mud. You're going to sand it down. You're going to apply another coat over the top of that as soon as it's finished drying, and then you're going to go ahead and sand it down, smooth it out, and fan it out. And we'll show you that when we get to it. So let's go over here and do this corner. When you wet it, it helps the glue in this clay compound adhere better. I'm not worried too much about this floor and getting it drips on. I just scrape up the excess and put it back in here. You know, I just stir it in and make sure it's all lump free. Because I'm going to be covering the floor with linoleum because rabbit urine is so destructive on wood. So we're going to be coating it with a linoleum, and I'm going to go find a mill end to use linoleum. See if I can get one free, because it's only an 8x8 piece. So I'll let you know how I do that. We've got 1, 2, 3 more corners to do, and we got an outside corner, and there's a special way to do an outside corner. So stay tuned. The corners are done. So we're going to go ahead and do a seam, and I'll show you how I do that. Again, you spread your mud on both sides of the seam. We're not going to fold the tape on this one. The tape is going to lay flat. But you want to make sure you get plenty of glue on that seam to hold that tape in place. I got some dried chunks in there. I'm not too worried about it because this is it's not my house. It's just a rabbit barn and a potential for a bunkhouse. So the texture I'll be putting over the wall will cover all the imperfections. That's why you do texture on drywoods. Cover up the imperfections. Okay? Again, we're going to measure our piece out that we need. I go from the bottom up because I hold it with my toe. and squeegee the excess of water out. And I'm going to apply this. There's a perf or a seam down the middle, so we're going to try to center this on there all the way down. I take my wet wider knife. I'm going to wet it. We're going to work it in 1/2 at a time. Look at that extra mud I pulled off of there. We just put that right back into the trough because we're going to use that. And we'll go ahead and do the other side. So I've got 3 more walls to do on the seams, and I got to do the same on the ceiling. So I'll get back to you guys with that when I'm done. Okay, we're going to work on this outside corner piece now. For lack of funds right now, I'm not able to purchase what I need to do this right, but there's an alternative way to do it. And since, like I said, this is just a bunkhouse or a bunny barn, I'm going to do it, I'm going to jerry rig it and do an alternative. However, I do have a piece of what it looks like on what you need to get if you're going to do this DIY project to do an outside corner. And this is a metal drywall sheet. I just happen to have this laying around. This is what you need, and they come in 8-foot lengths. And you just cut it with tin snips to fit the size you need, and you staple it, screw it, or nail it into the corner just like this. That's how you apply it, and then you just lay your drywall mud over the top of it. You don't need to lay drywall mud underneath of it. But since I don't have it, I don't have the funds to go buy one, I'm going to jerry rig it. And jerry rigging means just putting tape on it, but I'm going to fill in this crack to give me, and that'll dry and give me a more of a solid base under it. I'm going to lay some mud down the edge, just like I did on the other corners, on the inside corners. Just be liberal with the mud because you're going to scrape a lot of the excess off and put it back in your trough anyway. Now we're going to do the tape. Of course, we got to get the tape the size I need. Alright. Don't forget to wet the tape, because that's what helps it stick to the glue in the compound that you're putting in. Alright, create your fold. And since I'm doing an outside corner, there's no tool for this, so I'm just going to make do. And when this dries, it's almost like a plaster of Paris consistency. Now we take the excess out. And it gives me a nice crisp edge. You should see my camera. I'm getting drywall mud all over it. Alright. Next we're going to do the seam in the ceiling. Now we're going to turn our attentions to the corners between the ceiling and the walls meet. So that's just like doing your side corners. It's the same concept. So I'm going to go ahead and tune out, get that done, and I'll show you guys when I'm done. Okay, step 1 is done on this drywall. That's the first thing you want to do is put your tape and seal up all the seams, cover up all the gaps, the holes, and stuff like that. And then we're going to go over there once it dries, and we're going to do a light sanding on all the surfaces. And then we're going to apply another coat over the top of the tape. Once we get that coat done, we'll let it dry, softly sand it down, then we'll go ahead and apply a texture coat, and we'll show you what that is in step 3. So stay tuned. Okay, we're going to go on to step 2 and apply mud over all that tape that we had just put in. It's completely dry, so let's get started and put that mud on. Okay, I'm loaded up on my tray, so we're going to go ahead and lay a mud coat right over the top. Okay, stage 2 is, or phase 2 is done. I laid a coat of mud over the top of the tape, the paper tape, and we feathered the edges out. And we're going to let that sit and dry. And the final phase, the next phase, is to get this all smooth sanded down, and then we'll go ahead and apply the texture coat. Why? Oh, because I want to. That's why. Alright, stay tuned. Okay, now we are to the point where we're going to go ahead and lay the texture on the wall. So, I'll show you how I do it on around this window right here. And this is the same technique I used in my dining room and other places. So, check it out. So what I do is just I do a spot. Just do that. Just take the knife and go in different directions so you're getting not a uniform pattern. Because when I go over it with the big 12-inch blade, it smooths it all out and blends it together. You're just loading the knife up and just hitting the wall and filling in the spaces. And this leaves a really interesting texture. My wife and I decided that we really like this style of texture on our walls. It really gives it some class. A classy bunny bungalow, that's what I'm after. Oh my god. It is what it is. It only costs about $9 for a container of this mud. It's relatively inexpensive if you want something to look halfway decent, which is, well, that's my nature. I just like, I personally like my stuff to be, oh, look halfway decent. I know some folks, they make do with what they got, and I find that pretty admirable of them to create something out of nothing. Like J0 took a bunch of political signs and made a chicken house. I thought that was really incredibly creative of him, and it puts a better use of political signs, you know, for housing chickens to create food for his family and his elders. If you haven't seen his channel yet, go ahead and look at his channel. It's J0. He is, well, he's one of those doodly dudes that I think you might like what he does on his little homestead. He's a guy that's actually living not out of will but out of necessity and showing you how to do it. So that's the thing about us people who live at the bottom of the food chain here, is we make do with what we got and what we can get for free or barter with, and we have we will be able to endure hard times a lot easier than the rest of society because they're too dependent on somebody else for everything. I'm going to take my 12-inch blade and we're just going to smooth that out in different directions. And that created a really nice texture. Okay, I just wanted to demonstrate another method of applying this drywall mud. It's called the skip method, or skip trowel. And what you do is just load your trowel up with a little bit of mud and and just run it right across the surface. So I'll show you what I'm doing. And what you do is just that. And it just leaves random pieces of mud here and there. Whoa. I'm not very good at the skip trowel method. I don't particularly like it. But this is the ceiling, so I can do a different method on the ceiling since it's its own unique surface. It's not like it's going to be the walls. And the ceiling is finished. In fact, the whole interior is now taped and textured. As you can see outside the window, it is nighttime. I wanted to get this done so I could paint tomorrow. This will sit here and dry overnight, and tomorrow afternoon I'll go ahead and paint it and get the first coat on. So I'm your host Jerry Hansen here at Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. The painting will be another video. I'm glad you joined me on this adventure of tape and texturing. I'm just happy to be able to show you how I did it. I'm no professional at it, but I do, this is what I do. So please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye bye.